And the next is wanting to be right instead of doing the right thing. So many of us want to be right. We'll do anything to be right, and we'll do anything to prove that we're right. Not everybody's willing to do the right thing. So you may have your own judgment about this, but did I do the right thing that day in Hartford, Connecticut, sitting on that loading dock? I think so. But I could have wanted to be right. I did want to be right. I literally almost reached over and grabbed him by the shirt and said, "Screw you." That's how close I came until I looked into his face. Boy, but I could have just been right all day long if I wanted to be. And then none of that would have happened. So stop and ask yourself, do I just want to be right? Or am I really doing the right thing in this circumstance? Whether it's related to business or personal. So how do we shatter our limiting beliefs? What are you holding on to that's no longer serving you? That's a very important question. Because we all do tend to hold on to things, right? Whether it's attitudes or paradigms or belief systems or people or whatever it may be. What I've found is that for most people to get to where they say they want to go, it's not a matter of overcoming something. It's a matter of letting go of something. So if you don't feel good about where you are in your personal life or your career or both, ask yourself, what am I holding on to that is no longer serving me? And that's where you'll find the answer. Then it takes a lot of courage sometimes to let those things go, right? Especially if it's a relationship. Especially if it's somebody that you've been with for a long time, whether it's personal or business or anything else. And when you have the courage to do that, then you will see that you will advance forward. The next is that, Chris and I's good friend, Dave Norberg, some of you have heard us talk about this in the past. He had the greatest question that I've ever heard asked, and that is, when are you going to drop that story? When are you going to drop that story? Because whenever we're holding ourselves back, it's primarily because we're doing what? What are we doing? Telling us ourselves a story about why we can't do something, or why we shouldn't do something, or why it's impossible, or whatever. It's a story. That's all it is. And the next is, take personal responsibility for everything. No victimization allowed, regardless of whether you created the circumstances or not. Because it's so easy to get caught up in, well, I didn't create that, so I'm not going to take care of it. I'd rather play victim to that than take care of it and move on. The most successful people that I work with, that I know, that I've been mentored by, take personal responsibility for everything, whether they created the circumstance or not. If you can get to that point, you will make the biggest breakthrough that you have ever made in your life. Because when you get there, there's no playing the victim. There's no hiding in the bad side of the ego. There's none of that stuff. It's gone. And then whenever you have a fear-based or a limiting thought, like, I can't, I don't, I won't, you know those thoughts from that little goblin that sits over there? I can't do this, I can't do that, I won't do this, I won't do that. As soon as you have a thought like that, I want you to stop and say, how can I? And we've done this exercise with a few of you that I personally coach. So you might think something like, I can't prospect between 8:30 and 11 because, and then you'll tell yourself a story. No one's going to be home. Right? And then I'm going to immediately say to you, stop, and say, how can I? And that goes back to being what? Conscious, right? Be conscious, being aware. It's only a story. That's it. Does everybody understand that point? Okay. And then number 5, what are the conditions in your life when they are present that empower you to be your best? Now, this is really interesting. I want to run through this with you. And these are going to be different for everybody, by the way. And for you, it might be 1 or 2 conditions, or it might be 10. I don't know. I'm going to show you the 4 conditions when I know that they're present in my life, then I am the absolute best that I can be in that moment. And if any one of the 4 of these are missing, then I'm not. It's like my ingredients. Your ingredients may be different. So these are the ones for me. Number 1, I'm being coached. Now that started for me playing athletics. When I'm coached, I'm at my best. And when I'm not, I can fool myself into thinking I'm being the best, but I'm not. That's why I'm hiring Nina to be my nutrition and workout coach, right? Even though she's in Austin and I'm here, I'm going to hire her and she's going to tell me, this is what you do. And I'm going to say, great, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to judge it. I'm not going to doubt it because she knows more than I do. So when I'm being coached, I'm at my best. Okay? Next, when I am working out hard. For whatever reason, for me, when I am physically working out hard, I am very competitive, I am very focused, and I'm very determined. And when I'm not working out hard, I'm unfocused and lethargic. That's just the way it is. I might want it to be different than that, but it's not. The fact is, for me, I have to be doing that. If not, I'm simply not my best. The third thing for me is I have to be growing something. For me, it's mostly, no, not pot. For me, it's typically growing a business, right? I have to be engaged in building something, growing something, making it better, finding better ways to do it. If not, I'm simply not at my best. Matter of fact, if I'm not doing that, I'm miserable. And I've found that to be true of almost every entrepreneur that I've ever met. That if they're not building something and growing something, they absolutely are miserable. I see some people smiling, so they know it's true for them too. And then for me, the fourth one is I have to be loving people unconditionally. Because when I tend to put conditions on other people, I'm never as good myself.